Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's actually Monday, May 3rd, but you're not going to be tuning into this until Tuesday, May 4th. So greetings from the past. This is producer and host Shay Gunther. And as you can tell, this is not a typical headline show for some pretty big news. Big reason. I'm done. I'm done making the daily. I am done producing Marijuana Today daily. Yeah, it's kind of weird to say that, but it's true. I'm done. I'm done in the daily marijuana news game. So yeah, like I said, today is Monday, May 3rd, and really on Friday while I was recording that show, it kind of hit me that it was I had reported my last Q4 and full year 2020 numbers. If I never have to say the positive adjusted EBITDA again, I will be a happy man. So I realize that this is big news because, I've been making this show. I started this podcast on May 24th, 2016. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I still have to do that when I count dates. It's been 5 years. I'm on May 24th. So I'm 3 weeks short today of 5 years making this podcast. And, I would say that my schedule has not been great over the last year just because of the world and my inability to kind of deal with the turmoil in it. But for most of those years, I was producing 5 shows a day, Monday through Friday. And last year when the pandemic hit, I switched to 4. I would always take time off. I think I started off taking 2 weeks and then expanded it to 4 weeks in the summer. And then I try to take a bunch of time off in the winter because I think it's important to do that. But, for the most part, I've been cranking out news podcasts for the past 5 years. And 6 days a week, I actually have been producing the newsfeed email newsletter. So Monday through Saturday, I have woken up and, dove into headlines. I have a whole bunch of just custom, feeds set up for different keywords, and that would fill my computer screen with 500 to 800 headlines. And I would look at them, I would scan them, and my brain is just built that I can kind of just quickly look through those and pick out the relevant ones. And then I would compile those into an email and send them out to a whole lot of people. And I did that 6 days a week. I was much better with producing the newsfeed than the podcast because pretty much every morning I could wake up at 5 o'clock and just read news and produce a newsletter. So I started doing that in July of 2015. So it's been 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's ridiculous. My brain is not doing numbers well. 6 years. 6 days a week, I produced an email newsletter. So I feel like I've done enough news reporting, and I love the work. I love the industry. I love news. I don't not love any of it. I'm just done. I'm just done doing it. I just can't do anymore. And because I've been doing it for 5 or 6 years, because it's just easy. I enjoy challenges. I don't know, lots of different reasons. I've actually been contemplating kicking around the idea of kind of ending the podcast for the past couple months, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later on this podcast and later on this week. But I have a really cool new project in Life Pivot. So, while I'm certainly sad that the show is ending, I am so excited about what I have in front of me. So, I'm not overall, I'm not sad about this. All right. So here just are some interesting numbers. Well, actually, before I do that, my plan, what I'm going to do, instead of just getting on, today and saying, peace out and no more podcast, I'm gonna talk with just a couple of my podcast friends. I think I have 4 friends scheduled right now. We're just gonna get on the podcast and just kind of shoot the shit and talk about just podcasting, and just talk about just kind of take a little bit of I'm going to call it a victory lap because like I've definitely accomplished a lot with this podcast and I'm proud of what I've done. So, so I'm going to be on this feed. If you're listening, if you get the daily, it'll pop up. All those episodes are going to pop over this week and next week. And that's how I'm going to wind down the show. I decided that was the way that I wanted to do it best. So as I mentioned, I did run some numbers and I want to share them because it's pretty crazy. So like I said, I've been producing a daily email newsletter for 6 years. I've been producing the daily podcast, Marijuana Today Daily, 5 years. I started Marijuana Today, our weekly flagship show, on July 11th, 2014. So that's been 7 years. I don't need to count on my hands for that. 7 years. So this July 11th, 7 years ago, we started up Marijuana Today. And that show is going to keep going. I should have said that way earlier. Geez, my bad. Marijuana Today is not going anywhere. That show, I'm going to produce that it's been 7 years. I would love to produce it for another 7 years and beyond that because that's a fantastic show. And the amount of time and energy that it takes for me is works into my life, and I will just always make it work. So, and I have just an amazing group of friends and colleagues and podcasters who help produce that show. And that show is going nowhere, nor are the Green Rush or Weed Wonk. So it's just Marijuana Today Daily that is shutting down. And also the newsfeed. I guess if you didn't pick up on that, I am done with just the news. I need to just take a break from headlines and from the news and from being in all of it. But I will be producing the weekly shows. So again, those shows are going nowhere. And just, I guess maybe along those lines, that, being in the news over the last year has gotten harder because, we had an insurrection in January, a failed insurrection by, the former president. I was calling that guy a wannabe dictator from the start. And I was fucking right about that. I still am. The orange buffoon was just on stage at Mar-a-Lago talking about how votes were going to be turned up in Arizona. Regular listeners know that like my state of mind has taken a sharp turn for the worse at various points over the last year, just watching the world and being as connected to things as just I am, because that's my nature. I absorb information, and my brain just kind of assembles it into like, oh, what's going on and what could happen. And it took me down some dark places. Everything obviously was, everything's okay. Well, everything's okay right now because Joe Biden won and he's a wonderful president. I spoke ill of or poorly of Joe Biden when he was a candidate, and I was completely wrong. I was definitely in favor of Bernie Sanders winning, and I see now that Joe Biden was much better to win than Bernie Sanders. I love Bernie Sanders, but I think that where we are in the world right now is much better because Joe Biden's there, because he's just so competent and so boring and just so old and so white and so male, and so like it's just harder for the GOP to get the hooks on, and because he's doing a really good job, and like so. Just like the combination of competence and boredom, and frankly, the fact that he's an old white guy, because a lot of the country is racist. 30% of the country is, hardcore racist. Fucking. And so it's just it's been hard to be in the news game, and so I'm looking forward to not just like my job being absorbing news, and even though the marijuana news is not, marijuana news never stressed me out. It was always the mainstream news, and just the fact that the regular news was so adjacent to the cannabis news. I just spend so much time on my computer, so it's just hard to not just hoover it all up. So I'm going to be speaking with Heather Sullivan. I'm going to be speaking with Chris Crane, and I'm going to be speaking with Ben Larson. Those are the three hosts of Marijuana Today. And then I'm going to be speaking with my friend Carl. So my friend Carl is just a longtime listener to the show, and he sent me a fan email years back, and we just kind of became email pals and just became friends. And he's an operator in Massachusetts. He owns a vertically integrated processor and retailer. And yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of have a chat with someone who kind of interacts with the show on from the listener side. So just a different experience than being on this end of the microphone. So, and Carl's a cool guy, so I thought it would just be a fun excuse to just shoot the shit for an hour. But we're gonna just talk about life and media and podcasting and politics in the world and whatever. Maybe not so much politics. Trying to pull back from politics. And let's see, how much do I want to talk about the new project? I guess, I will talk about the new project. So I have a new project, and it's really weird in how this all came about. And it's so weird. It's so weird. So I would say that, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I've been, just kind of kicking around the idea of ending this podcast for the past, probably 2 or 3 months. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was pretty sure I didn't want to get like a media job. I don't know. I just need something new, and I need to pivot into something different and new, and because that's kind of how my career has always run. And through just kind of a weird, stacking of circumstances and events and messages between friends and just happenstance and luck and chance. This is definitely a luck favors the prepared type situation. I've decided to become a farmer. And it's very strange because never, ever, ever, ever in my life, ever, up until the point where I thought, I should become a farmer, had I ever thought of becoming a farmer. Like, no time in my life had I ever contemplated or considered becoming a farmer. Never had I thought, that might be a cool way to live. But then like I said, like just all these different events kind of rolled it up into this kind of intersection of potential, and it looks like I'm going to be a farmer, and a particular kind of farmer, because I don't have any interest in raising thousands of acres of corn, or even like just I guess it's not going to be even the kind of typical agriculture or organic farm. I'm going to start a permaculture farm. So a permaculture farm is a type of farm that practices regenerative agriculture. So if you think about growing food, you think about growing agriculture, both plants and animals. You can kind of think of it in kind of 3 different tranches. So you have degenerative. So that's where, some person in the Midwest tills thousands of acres and uses, big giant tractors to plant, monocultures of corn that are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, and then, cut with giant big harvesters, and, the whole commercial industrial farming. That is degenerative because it leaves the landscape in a worse state. It leaves, the environment off in a worse state. Generative agriculture, would be like maybe like a small organic farm. So, or not even small, but like a generative farm would I guess that would be leaving the land kind of as the same, so maybe that's more organic farming, but every year you're going back and you have to plan, maybe it's organic corn, maybe you're growing other crops, but the kind of the focus is more on annuals, annual crops. crops that you have to grow every year. So you put a plant in the seed, the plant grows, you harvest the plant, and then next year you have to plant a new seed. So that's kind of like, just kind of status quo. The land is, you're hopefully leaving the land the same, but you have to put inputs back in. You have to do, the same amount of work every year. That would be generative agriculture. So a permaculture farm is regenerative agriculture. So that's where you're leaving the land in a better shape. That's where, the land becomes more productive every year. You're using more annual crops. You still have some plants that you put the seed in the ground, it grows, you harvest it, you put new seeds next year, but you have a lot more of a mix of annual crops. So you're growing a lot of nut trees, you're growing a lot of berry bushes, you're growing a lot of other, plants that grow and stay in the ground, and every year they come back with more abundance, if you're doing your job right. And you're using animals, so you're cycling animals throughout space, so that they're eating pests, they're leaving fertilizers behind. There's kind of a saying in permaculture, you don't have a slug problem, you have a duck shortage, so it's kind of that style of thinking. It's designing a farm so that there's as few outside inputs required as possible. You don't want to have to be buying fertilizer. You want your animals making fertilizer. You don't want to have to be making seed. You want to be producing your own seed or have plants that just produce every year. So it's definitely, it's a very different style of farming, and it's the style that I would like to just spend the rest of my days doing. And like I said, this all came about just this one day where I just was like, oh, that's what I need to do now. And, as I say this, I realize that, it sounds like one of those bullshit epiphanous, entrepreneur stories, but like it legitimately was what happened to me. So that was fun. So how does one become a permaculture farmer? Because I'll be the first to admit that I don't know shit about permaculture farming. I mean, I guess I know more than the average person, but I've basically fallen down a permaculture YouTube rabbit hole over the last, I guess it's been the last month, 3 or 4 weeks. And so, that is the sum of my permaculture knowledge and experience. I've, ordered some books, but I am going to just throw myself into this and just learn as I go, because I'm pretty good at learning stuff, and I'm a handy buildy guy. So, so there's no reason why I couldn't do it. So, I guess I don't know. I'm going to have a lot more to say about that. I'm going to talk more about that project over the next couple weeks as I kind of wind down the show with some conversations with podcast friends. But that's the kind of short of it. I'm going to be my plan is to kind of transition out of my suburban lifestyle and get onto some land and start building. And with that, that is actually going to be kind of my new media project, because I decided that I think it'd be cool to get back into producing video. So the plan is I'm going to spend the summer making some videos, and, if I can come up with something good, then, I'll look to maybe launch in the fall. So I guess I'm not going to promise anything there, because if my videos aren't great, no, I'll still put them up because they'll just get better. I don't know, but that's the plan. Is I want to make videos about what I do, and I think that could be fun, and I think I could be good at it. I started my career in digital video back in 1999, back when we were using mini DV tape, and that was actually my first big startup, where me and a bunch of friends we raised a bunch of big venture capital money right at the end of the .com bubble. I was 21, and we raised, me and my co-founder, it was 16 million and change that we raised. We hired a whole bunch of our friends in to town, and we threw ourselves into digital video. So I spent the first 2 or 3 years of my career doing lots of video. So so hopefully I can still make good videos, but that's the plan. I'm going to still be doing some, I'm going to get back into podcasting, just not about cannabis news. And I will definitely mention that whatever that is on this show. So if you are interested in hearing me talk about whatever farming or the world or cutting down trees or growing trees or anything like that, then you'll be able to catch news of that. If you would like to send me an email for any reason, you can always do that at shay@mjtodaymedia.com. SHEA is how my name is spelled. Yeah, so that's the big news. That is the big news. So, Marijuana Nation. I guess I should thank you because every person listening to the show right now, every person who has listened to the show, you've given me the ability to make a living being a podcaster, like being a marijuana podcaster. I can think of one or two other people who I would say have made some money podcasting in this space. I think I would venture to say that I'm the only one who's been doing it as their full-time income. So I am the best and worst person in the world at my job. But yeah, it's because you listened. It's because thousands of you listen. I mean, there's 5,000 people listening to this show every single day, which is just crazy. I mean, the average podcast gets like 80 people and there are thousands of you out there and thank you because I suck at marketing and I've never been able to market my show. And the reason that there are so many of you out there is because you've been telling your friends about it and it's been able to grow the show to where the point where I can actually retire from this job. I mean, I'm not retiring from this job because I've made so much money. I've been able to have a career in this, and it's because you've been listening, and I appreciate that, and so much, so much. So thank you for listening and all the things. So, okay, well, with that, Marijuana Nation. Like I said, I am going to be back this week and next week with some more episodes. So this isn't goodbye, but this is goodbye for this episode. So with that, I guess I will bid you adieu, and I will catch you later this week, where I'm going to have some fun conversations with some of my podcast friends.
There's just not time for singing and dancing right now. We got work.
I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today.
What? What's this?
Uh-oh, I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today.
How do you guys all know this dance?
I just figured out how to move, how to sing, how to groove, and now you're telling me I gotta work today.
Kiri, did you choreograph this and teach everyone? Where was I?
You know that feeling when you find a thing that blows your mind, and next thing you know, they want